So today
we're reviewing The Town.
Can you guys see her?
Boy, see all right?
Listen, you fucking smartass.
So The Town is a movie. It came out in 2010.
Yep.
It stars Ben Affleck and he directs it and stars a lot of big actors. I'm not even going to name them because because there are so many actors in this movie that we'll go into once we get there. But what's your overall thoughts on the movie The Town?
Well, obviously it's a film that really flew under the radar. I mean, I had not watched this film until probably less than a year ago, maybe exactly a year ago. And it's a film that every single time I watch it, it gets better and better. And it's just a great film overall. Great characters, great storyline, and it's just a film that I think is really underrated overall, like in the film industry. I think.
What's your overall thoughts on The Town?
No, definitely one of my favorites. Definitely, like Jake said, it flew under the radar a little bit. I think we caught it late, and basically, it's definitely top 10 for me. Really enjoyed the storylines of this movie. I think it's got a lot of action. I think it's somewhat based on some potential true stories that go into this, what they call the town. It's Charlestown. Really like the movie The Town, and have enjoyed watching it, and like the boy said, watching it over and over again.
Yeah, no, this movie, actually, you kind of introduced this movie to us. You said check out this movie one day. Was that less than a year ago, honestly?
A year ago.
It was honestly less than a year ago, and I watched it, and I was like, okay, I give it a chance, and I definitely did like it, and it is a movie that I would say is definitely complicated. This is definitely a great movie. It's really, every time it's on, I want to watch it. It has a lot of interesting stuff about it. But I guess if we had to go into more specifics, should we go through the main cast?
Yeah, well, so the main cast is made up of obviously Ben Affleck, and then
as Doug.
as Doug, and then there's Jeremy Renner as James Coughlin, and then I guess the next biggest character is probably the love interest for Ben Affleck's character, and it's not really a big name actress, but her name's Rebecca Hall.
She's in Iron Man 3.
Yeah, Rebecca Hall, and then Blake Lively's the sister of James Coughlin, but then like the ex-girlfriend of Doug. And then another character, Fergie's obviously a great character. His actor's name, some of these actors.
Big actor.
Yeah, exactly. Big actor, guy from The Lost World,
yeah.
Jurassic Park. And then the FBI guy, this is probably our least favorite character. But I mean, he does a great job in the role. He's supposed to be this annoying FBI character. And his name is John Hamm. He's a big time actor too, as far as
some funny lines.
Yeah, funny lines. And that's probably the main cast. But then obviously there's like the supporting characters that are part of the, I guess I'm not gonna say mob, but like the
gang,
the hit team. I guess that goes to like take down the bank. So, but yeah, that's the main cast. And obviously great characters. And then I think another great thing about this film is just like the kind of like the accent from some of the main. I'm not sure if that's actually the real. I don't think they actually talk like that in real life. So like they do a great job in that role. But then obviously just the storyline, the way it starts, just the way it just kind of plays all the way out. It's just a great storyline. I mean, should I touch on that or you gonna touch on that?
Well, we're gonna. I guess you want to give some things you like about the movie more in specific. Yeah, some positives.
Yeah, I mean, just the positives. It's a little more, real life. I believe situations, as harsh as it may be. There's a lot of guys that come under, grow up in bad situations, bad environments. Doesn't mean you have to do bad things, but it's weird how they can turn these movies, which I'm not a proponent of robbing banks and doing the wrong things or breaking the law. We are law and order here. But it is weird how they draw the lines between guys that are doing bad things by robbing banks, but yet there's some good qualities about them, at least some of them. Now the character Hawkeye, which, is an Avenger, can be an Avenger in a lot of movies. He's bad, but the thing is he's got some loyalty about him to his friends. It just gets a little carried away, and he really creates the most problems amongst those guys.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about the movie is that obviously you're kind of rooting for these people, but then you're kind of not because, like Coughlin, he's not a good guy, and Fergie's not a good guy. And the main character, Doug, he's really on the edge. He says he's never killed anyone, so at least he's doing that. But he's not really a good guy for what he's doing, obviously. But it kind of shows how it catches up to a lot of these guys. Most of them die in the end. I think that's the main point about the movie is that it's complicated, and you obviously see what they're doing is wrong. They do have loyalty to their group there, but it ends up catching up to a lot of these guys, and it shows you can only do this so long before it eventually catches up to you. I think that's the main point at the end of the movie.
Yeah, one thing I would add, too, is that the main character, Ben Affleck, he's definitely, to me, a good character. I know he's doing some wrong things, but the guy's really, it's like you can tell he's fighting himself to get out of the life he's in, and he wants to get out of that area just to start anew, and not that he doesn't have to pay for his crimes, but, you do feel bad for him, and you kind of are pulling for him a little bit in this movie.
Because obviously the main crew that hit these banks, they really don't have a choice, because the ones that try to go against him, you see Ben Affleck's character try to get out of it, and not only will he probably be killed, but the Fergie character, it just shows kind of that is kind of like the mob, what's the kind of term for someone who's
Organized crime.
Yeah, whoever's in charge, they always have so many assets around it, he even said if you try to do anything against what I say, I'm gonna hurt people that you really care about, like the girl
nuts.
character, clip your nuts,
like the boss.
and you saw and there's examples of his dad went against it, obviously, and he got put in jail, and that just shows obviously there's still a way to get out of it, but
yeah, it's not an excuse to obviously keep
but they were really kind of being forced into these situations, they had
well,
to do
that's true.
it,
He
so.
was put in a tight situation at the end where he
Yeah.
said basically, yeah, he was saying how the girl, he's gonna get her if he doesn't follow him.
Yeah.
But, obviously there is a point where you do what's right, and you would obviously want to. He was wanting to get out after that. But there is an alternate ending to this movie that I'll just mention really quick, where Doug actually dies, the main character, and which is the more realistic ending, and I feel like it's probably the more proper ending for this movie, just because, he wanted to get out before this last raid of the stadium, but to steal that money and get away with it scot-free, it seems like a better ending, but it does seem a little more realistic, and that it would catch up to him again.
Yeah.
But even though I do like the way it ended, because you are rooting for the guy, and he wanted to get out, and he obviously did some bad stuff, but he was definitely way better and was on the fence much more than these other guys that wanted to just keep doing this the rest of their lives.
I think one of the obviously the best aspects of the film is obviously the action chase scenes. Obviously it's kind of like a bank robbery type. What's the one movie called Point Break? That shows a lot of the same kind of stuff there. They do a great job of it's kind of like watching The Dark Knight. How obviously you don't want people to be robbing banks, but just to kind of see a plan be executed that perfectly is kind of fun to watch on screen.
It's a heist, yeah.
It's like a heist. They go in, they get out of there. They're trying to they have the ghetto or the second car. They go to a spot. They switch cars. They blow it up, and then
They have your car.
They kind of yeah, exactly. They
mention
have my car.
The car
one of the ones.
Yeah, one of the cars they use in the movie.
Yeah.
He has that exact car.
But obviously, the FBI character is kind of annoying, so it's kind of fun to see them actually get away with it a couple of times. And that last, trying to take down the Cathedral of Boston, they probably would have done it if it wasn't for them just doing all these hits all in a row. I feel like if they would have waited, they could have done this on a better day. Because I feel like they did that attack on the stadium shortly after all these other things. They were closing in on them. They should have realized they were closing in on them at that point. But
yeah, I agree. I think the sad thing is it's crazy. Like I said, it's not that we're pulling for someone to do bad things, but this gang of guys really did do their thing smart. They really organized what they were doing, from their jobs to their contacts to their cover. And another thing you'll catch out of the movie, the loyalty amongst even these bad guys is incredible. They don't rat each other out. They don't give any information. There's little things caught in there, like the police. They're even caught sometimes having to jump over the line to try to catch these guys. I guess normally you can't get wiretaps if it's not a terrorist situation. And so since these guys weren't terrorists, they weren't able to do it until later. The guy finally just pulled the plug and kind of stepped out of bounds to get that done, to catch him. And like Jake was saying, at the end, they got caught up into being squeezed into a job. And honestly, some loyalty broke down with simple jealousy. I think it was Blake Lively's character, who I really like, even though she plays a rough character. She's beautiful, and it's hard not to like her, even though she does play that role to where you don't have as much respect for her. And she's kind of what caught up with them at the end. She ratted them out to the police. Coughlin, Hawkeye, he basically starts losing it. He really starts getting careless with what he does, and it ends up catching up with him at the end.
Because that one line he says before they go in that last attack, he says he's not going to jail anymore. So he basically saying if they get caught, he's just going to go out shooting
whole court on the street,
which is what he does, and that's what happens. And also, I think one aspect we haven't even talked at all about is how the film starts with them robbing that first bank and taking the one girl hostage, the manager of the bank, basically, and then obviously they were supposed to basically take her out, but Ben Affleck's character Doug basically like forms a relationship with her, and that whole aspect of him like understanding that he actually like she had no idea that he was part of the team that hit the bank, and then like that whole storyline's obviously a huge storyline in this film, obviously, but still, like I thought we definitely want to mention that at some point.
Well, and I'd like to ask Kenny here, since he runs the show. I want Kenny to give maybe a breakdown of the Hawkeye Coughlin character. He's a bad guy. He's into bad things, and normally in some movies that he reviews, he's good.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously that's what I wanted to say about the loyalty between them. Obviously, you respect the loyalty they have for each other, but obviously, I don't want this to be misconstrued. This guy is bad. I mean, he's shooting at cops at the end of this movie, and that's bad. That's really bad. And obviously, you respect their loyalty they have. It's insane, and they are really loyal. And these guys, and they do bad stuff, but some guys are worse. Dog's probably the better of them, but it's definitely bad what they're doing, and they do make you kind of feel bad for them when they die. But I feel like and more so they were kind of portraying the way it hurt like Doug in the end. The sad music and stuff. I think he was portraying how it was his friend, even though he was doing bad stuff. I feel like he was portraying it more in that way. But yeah, I guess you want to point out specific
overall,
scenes.
Like lifestyle as far as but still.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like specific scenes.
Just point out a scene.
Yeah, I guess my favorite scene in the film.
You can just point out a random scene.
I mean, one we haven't really talked about yet, I feel like, is probably
I have one.
This the whole sequence when they go to beat up the guys that were saying things to the one girl and like basically like giving her a hard time, throwing bottles at her. Then that was gonna be one of my favorite lines I was gonna say later. I think as far as like between characters when they go beat up those two guys, and basically just like just that whole scene's like a great sequence there because obviously it's like they're both bad guys, but it shows like they still. I mean, that was one scene I wanted to talk about. Was that one there.
Yeah, I think Jake's scene he's talking about when he comes in and he asks him.
Apparently, you can't say the quote yet.
Well, you can say. You can say.
He mentions to him what he's going to do, and he basically tells him not to ask any questions. And the guy is loyal enough to say, "Yeah, what car are we taking?"
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're going to hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
Yeah, saying we're doing a really bad thing, but it doesn't matter.
Because he's just watching TV like late at night, and he still just goes out and they break into a house and just beat up these two guys. And obviously they're bad guys that were in the house.
Well, okay, I guess I mentioned one in particular at the stadium heist when they first walk in. Obviously, we had the quote we mentioned at the beginning. Can you guys see all right? Because they're wearing the glasses and they look ridiculous. And you obviously wouldn't need sunglasses in there, but also just the whole scene with them asking us talk to Mike.
Robbery, guys, come on.
Is that a robbery?
Yeah, call saying you're being held up.
All right, let me call Mike.
We just walked past Mike. You let us in.
Hold on, where's Mike?
Just told you where Mike was.
I definitely thought that was kind of a funny scene. I guess, you want to mention a scene? Or?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I said, I really enjoy this movie. I think it's an action-packed, deep movie. And when I say deep, I just think there's a lot of,
it's complicated.
when there's care for the characters, the certain real-life situations. And besides the one where he has the FBI agent, he gets called in because they think they've got him for a crime. They're trying to basically strong-arm him into something. And he takes it and basically has that stick-it-up-your-can mentality to this FBI guy that they just really don't care for. I respect what they do, and like I said, we're Law and Order. But
it's not all FBI. Just
that's how they play the characters, and he has a good scene there. And honestly, another one that might shock these guys. And with the movie having that deep feel and deep thing with the characters, I think when he goes and sees his father, I think he's feeling like he's going to be either running into something where he may not be around much longer, or he's leaving the town or wants to. And he has a pretty in-depth conversation with his dad about his mother, and it's just kind of a touching scene. Like I said, a little deep, and it definitely is one of my favorites.
Yes, you want to go on a favorite line?
Yeah, favorite lines. I have two. And obviously, there's great lines all across the film. Yeah. I mean, there's obvious ones, but the two I was gonna say was when. I guess three. I was gonna say one was when the cops see the FBI guys and they say they think they're closing on the bad guys, like F you, Boston PD, and then another one when he says close the effing bridge, the FBI guy says that the one guy doesn't hear him, and then the other small one I was gonna say was when they're getting grilled in that one when they're like getting grilled by the FBI and I don't know where they're at, but like they're taking them one by one. And he's telling him to read the one line. He's the guy. Obviously, they're not the most educated guys, but they're still smart in like the things that they're trying to do. Yeah. But he says a line. He's trying to make it more arthentitious, and then the guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Arthent what?
Yeah.
Okay. Then my favorite line would have to be when Doug comes in and says we need to hurt some people. You can't talk about it later. And it's just like something that you'd probably a normal person would be like, okay, wait, what's going on? But he just says, whose car are we going to take? That's one of the funniest lines of the whole movie to me.
No, I like that one too. I like both those. There's several of them. One is going to be weird because it's a character that you really just, don't really care for. You have some disdain for. Is Fergie. Fergie's kind of a scrangly looking guy, and he's not good.
He's a bad guy.
And
He's
basically,
got that effed up face, and his prime days are in the past, or whatever.
yeah.
You guys run numbers and pump dope. You're an old guy with a fucked up face who don't know his glory years are behind him. I ain't fucking working for you.
And he has a meeting with these guys before the big job they pull at the end, pulling down the Cathedral of Boston, and basically he looks at them and he tells them how he sees their father in their faces, and he says, I feel like I'm in the ring with you, still taking the punches, and it's something that we laugh about. And
Taking down the Cathedral of Boston. Priceless.
And then he throws in a little quote of saying priceless, which if you watch the movie, you'll catch on to.
He also mentions that he couldn't pick a horse to save his effing life.
You got that one too. And then I'll tell you, I'll give you a silent one too. At the end, I really like how the FBI guys are holding out at that girl's house, trying to catch Ben Affleck, and he outsmarts them. So he just leaves him a little note on his car that if you watch the movie, you'll figure out what that is.
Well, and it's one of my sunny days, that line.
Yes, which meant he was going to
Florida.
Florida.
It's like the secret way to say that something's not right,
And obviously, remember, and at the end, when he finally gets to Fergie and he says, remember who clipped your nuts for you, and he shoots him in the balls.
That's a great one.
Scene.
That's gonna restrict this video.
And let's say this in wrapping up. I mean, this is not a kid's movie, right?
No.
I mean, this is one that's more an adult movie. And like these guys said, this is something I stumbled upon too, watching it, catching bits and pieces of it. And really, it's added up to being one of my favorite movies. And I've seen in reviews, I think, that this movie actually caught on late, too, from the movie theaters and has really been recognized more since then.
Is it rated R?
It's
It has to be R.
They
There's
make sure.
There's more than one F-bomb has to be.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's so many. Yeah, that's the thing. So this is kind of late in the review to say this, but if you're a kid, don't watch this movie. I might age restrict this. I don't know. This is definitely not for kids. There's a lot of cussing, a lot of blood, a lot of violence, a lot of bad things
There's
going on.
also like some other scenes too that are not PG-13.
Right.
Obviously, don't watch this movie unless you're 18 or over. There is definitely a lot of mature content. But yeah, we didn't even think about that when we reviewed through
Yeah,
it.
seriously.
Okay,
Scenes,
I need to go back
we
and
love the
restrict
battle
that.
scenes, but not the other scenes.
Yeah, I want to say in there,
true.
too,
We did not mention
I
that.
want to add one more thing at least.
Oh, God.
I'm glad the first ending is the one I remember and the one I like.
Yeah.
I don't like... The alternate ending is interesting, but I don't care for that one. I like the original ending.
There's a crazy alternate ending. I saw that, and I
Wait.
don't know where the F that came from. But there are a few deleted scenes that change this movie a lot.
A lot of
I
movies
can't
do that,
believe.
right?
Yeah, but these were big deleted scenes.
And one more line that we didn't mention was when James Coughlin's talking to Doug, and he's saying how like he doesn't like the next job because one of the guards is like effing G.I. Joe, and he wants to like pick one where like the guards like think there's like not in shape or something like that, or
With the combat boots on.
One kid is like fucking G.I. Joe. He wears the vest on the outside, tucks his pants into his fucking combat boots.
yeah, because like just the way they were talking about it, it's like they're like that just shows how like educated they are before they go in. Like, you don't just go in like not knowing what's like all the things around.
Yeah.
So
They were very prepared, and I think too, like, and this isn't a fantasy world, which maybe we shouldn't even go into. But when you're going to do these kind of things, you don't do them one after another. You're going to get caught eventually, and it's going to catch up with you one way or another.
Yeah, but this movie is obviously a 10 out of 10. It's in our favorite movies. This is a movie I really had watched not that long ago. You introduced it to us. I started watching it, and it does kind of have The Dark Knight. That is a good comparison to that beginning scene. It is really entertaining to see these things unfold. You're not necessarily behind everything they're doing, but it's really entertaining to watch and just see all these different aspects go around. As I said, it's a complicated movie, and you don't really know who to get behind, and there are a lot of complicated matters behind it, but I think it's really good. Any final thoughts?
No, I agree, and I just, like I said, I think it's for me, it's a real life situation movie. It's based off of some true stories, not this one in particular, but ones just like it. And I really enjoyed the theme of the movie, the characters. I thought some of them did a great job, and definitely
Yeah, the acting's really good.
Yeah, I would give it a 10 out of 10, and recommend it to any adult to watch the movie. And I'll add in the music is something that. I really enjoyed and I think is a good mix with the movie.
And remember, you never effing saw me.
And remember, you never fucking saw me.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I think we covered just about every single part of the movie, definitely.
Cover a lot. Let us know if we forgot anything.
Yeah, we probably forgot some lines, but anyways, definitely let us know in the comments if you've seen the town. And once again, make sure you're above at least probably 13,
18.
14, I guess 18 years old to watch.
Yeah.
It is rated R, so yeah. It's definitely one of our favorite movies, one that we just caught on here recently, probably within, I said in the last year, but probably even less than that.
I know, true. Honestly.
So yeah, definitely, it's a great movie. A lot of great aspects to it. So yeah, definitely just let us know in the comments if you've seen it. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.
Priceless.